When winter hit occupied Europe in 1943, families faced a brutal choice: burn your furniture to stay warm or freeze. But some clever homeowners discovered something that changed everything. They stuffed their walls with hay. Not just any hay trick, though. This was engineered survival that kept homes warmer than wood ever could, used zero precious fuel, and the physics behind it still embarrass modern insulation companies today. Let's talk about why this matters right now, not just as history. The winter of 1943 brought hell to European civilians. German occupation forces had seized nearly all available firewood. Coal shipments went exclusively to the war machine. Families sat in their homes watching their breath form clouds indoors. Children slept in coats. Elderly people died from exposure in their own living rooms. The fuel crisis wasn't coming. It had arrived with a vengeance. But here's where human ingenuity kicks logic right in the teeth. Some Dutch and Norwegian families started experimenting with agricultural waste, specifically hay. Not because they read about it in some manual, they were literally grabbing at straws, trying anything that might trap heat without requiring firewood they didn't have. What they discovered accidentally was a thermal insulation method that would make today's spray foam installers weep with envy. Hay works as insulation because of trapped air pockets. Each hollow stem creates thousands of tiny spaces that prevent heat transfer. This isn't magic. It's pure physics. Heat moves through solid materials via conduction. But air is a terrible heat conductor. That's exactly what you want between your warm interior and the frozen hell outside. The R value measures how well something resists heat flow. Modern fiberglass insulation scores about R3 per inch. Decent spray foam hits R6 per inch. Properly packed hay, it reaches R2.5 to R3 per inch when correctly installed. Sounds worse until you realize hay costs basically nothing, contains zero chemicals, and you can pack it twice as thick as conventional insulation for the same price. World War II families discovered they could pack hay into walls, attics, even floors. The homes stayed remarkably warm. Some families reported cutting their firewood consumption by 60%. That saved lives. One Norwegian family's diary from 1944 recorded indoor temperatures holding at 58 degrees Fahrenheit, while outside temperatures plummeted to 10 below zero. They burned half the wood their neighbours used. Their secret? 8 inches of compressed hay in the walls and 12 inches in the attic space. These weren't professional contractors. They were desperate people with basic tools. Here's how they did it. First, they dried the hay completely. Moisture destroys insulation value and invites mold. They hung hay in barns or attics for weeks until it felt crispy to the touch. Some families dried hay in ovens when fuel allowed. Others used natural air circulation during brief dry periods. Second, they created cavities. Most European homes had gaps between interior walls and exterior stone or brick. Perfect. They removed interior wallboards when possible. For homes without cavities, they built simple wooden frames attached to existing walls, creating 4 to 6 inch gaps. Third, they packed the hay tight. Really tight. Loose hay settles and creates cold spots. They used wooden tamping tools, basically long sticks with flat ends, pushing hay into every gap until it resisted pressure. The compression was key. It eliminated air gaps while maintaining those crucial tiny air pockets within the hay stems themselves. Fourth, they sealed everything. Gaps around windows, doors, any opening got stuffed with hay and covered with whatever they had. Old cloth, paper, thin wooden strips. Air leakage kills insulation performance faster than anything. The entire process took maybe 2 to 4 days for an average home. Compare that to modern insulation projects that can take weeks and cost thousands. You're thinking this is quaint history. Wrong. This technique solves modern problems. Energy costs keep climbing. Heating bills devour budgets. Commercial insulation materials contain chemicals with names you can't pronounce. Installation requires professional equipment and expertise. The environmental impact of manufacturing foam insulation produces greenhouse gases that make coal plants look clean. Hay? Well, it grows from dirt and sunshine. You just harvest it, dry it, pack it, and, well, that's it. Done. Modern homesteaders and off-grid builders have rediscovered this method, not because they're romantics, but because it works and costs almost nothing. A farmer will often give you hay for free if you haul it yourself. One pickup truckload can insulate a small cabin. The catch is fire safety. Hay burns. So did the wooden homes people lived in during World War II. Modern applications require fire barriers. A layer of gypsum board or metal sheeting between hay and living spaces provides necessary protection. Some builders treat hay with fire retardant solutions, though that adds cost and chemicals. Pest control matters too. Mice love hay, so do insects. The solution? You pack it tight enough that nothing can burrow through. Add a layer of hardware cloth or metal mesh at entry points. Some modern builders also mix diatomaceous earth with hay, creating a barrier that insects just won't cross. Let's get specific about what this meant during the war. A typical Norwegian household in 1943 needed approximately 2 cords of firewood to survive winter. That's about 256 cubic feet of stacked wood. With German occupation controlling forests and rationing fuel, obtaining 2 cords was nearly impossible. Families using hay insulation cut consumption to 1 cord or less. That's the difference between survival and disaster. Some families literally stayed alive because hay let them stretch limited firewood through entire winters. One documented case from the Netherlands, shows a family of 6 surviving the brutal winter of 1944 on just half a cord of wood, supplemented with furniture pieces. Their hay-insulated home held heat so efficiently they could actually let their small stove go cold during the day, burning wood only in the morning and evening. The fuel they saved didn't just mean comfort. It meant survival. It meant children didn't freeze. It meant elderly grandparents lived to see liberation. Today's builders, using this technique, they add refinements World War II civilians couldn't even imagine. Vapor barriers prevent moisture build-up. Proper ventilation stops mold before it starts. Fire-rated drywall provides safety that old plaster walls never could. The basic principle, though, remains identical. Pack plant material with trapped air pockets between you and the cold. Let physics do the work. Watch your heating bills drop while your comfort increases. Some modern practitioners mix hay with other materials. Straw actually works even better than hay because it's more uniform and hollow. Clay slip coating adds fire resistance and pest control. Lime plaster creates a breathable finish that regulates humidity while providing a finished surface. These aren't backwoods cabins either. Architects have designed modern homes using straw bale construction, a direct descendant of World War II hay insulation techniques. These homes meet building codes, pass inspections, and deliver performance that makes conventional construction look wasteful. Those World War II families weren't trying to save the planet or make a statement. They were trying not to die. The solutions they found through necessity taught lessons we've somehow forgotten in our era of abundant everything. Sometimes the best technology isn't new. Sometimes it's just really old knowledge waiting for rediscovery. A handful of hay, properly applied, kept families warm through the darkest period of human history. That same handful can cut your heating bills today. The science hasn't changed. Physics doesn't care about decades. Heat still moves through conduction, convection and radiation. Air still resists heat transfer. Hay still traps air. The method still works. What has changed is our willingness to learn from desperate times. Those World War II families would laugh at our expensive insulation options. They'd shake their heads at our utility bills. Then they'd walk outside, grab some hay, and show us how it's done. If this slice of practical history got you thinking differently about old solutions to modern problems, hit that subscribe button. Share this with anyone tired of expensive heating bills or interested in what actually worked when everything else failed. This channel exists to dig up the wartime wisdom that modern life forgot. More lost lessons coming soon.